I'm one of the pastors of Horizon Church, and I have to admit, right now I'm a bit nervous. This is not something I'd planned. This has not been scripted out at all, and so I'm really just talking from the heart this morning because God's been laying something on my heart this week as I've watched the news unfold. We've been looking at this message series called "For Such a Time as This," of finding God's purpose for your life, and we keep coming back to these words found in the book of Esther that you've come to your position for such a time as this. From Esther 4:14, we've come to a position for such a time as this. And the message that God keeps laying on my heart to share this week has been that we do have a racism problem in this country, and we, the church, have come to a time for such a time as this. And I think there's three things I wanted to share this morning that you can do at home right now, because I feel like there's so many things in the world where it just seems so big and so daunting that I can't do anything different, that I can't really make a difference to change something so big and so daunting. And so I wanted to share three simple things that we can do right now as the church to live our faith in a way that brings justice in this world. The first thing is we've got to commit to being a learner. We've got to be committing to learn from people of color, from Black people, what it means to live in their world. And we saw that in the life of Jesus, where he interacted with people that were considered to be shameful to be with, that were unclean, that were considered to be just a different class of people. And Jesus continued to push those boundaries. And so we've got to be a learner. If you hadn't had a chance a few summers ago to read the book Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, I highly recommend that book. Erica has ordered a book, and we'll be putting a few more recommendations in the description and in the comments to this video as well. The second thing is to do something. I think we can do something right now, whether that's to donate money to an organization that's doing some work around this, whether that's to volunteer right now. What are some of the ways that we can do that? If you're interested, one of the things that we're committing to this summer at Horizon Church is to our partner school at BT Washington. There's a thing called the summer slide. There's this concept that students regress over the summer because they're not in classes, and then compounded with COVID-19 and the ways that school ended at spring break, students are going to be struggling when schools return, hands down. And that, coupled with the institutional racism that people of color face, particularly at a school like BT Washington. We were intentional when we partnered with BT because we wanted to be around people that were different than us, because that's where we believe the church has to be going, to pushing those lines and boundaries. And so we're going to be putting together some things where we can partner with them to support them this summer so students do not experience that summer slide. And so if you want to be a part of that, if you know of resources, if you have any inkling, go ahead right now, send us an email, drop in the comments, or you could even donate to our school partnership fund to help with whatever that might be. And lastly, I think this is something that I kept coming back to over and over again as I was thinking about what I wanted to say today. And I really do believe that we need to be people of prayer right now. I know that I just kept coming back and hitting a wall of like, no, I can't say like just prayers and concerns. Like, that's so cliche right now. And I want to do action. But here's the thing about prayer. And when Christians are committed to praying, it's the spot that God speaks wisdom into our life. And if there's anything we also need right now, it's some wisdom in our life. If we continue to go to God in prayer around this situation, God's going to continue to show us ways that we can be the church in this community, to shine light, ignite change, and make a difference, the kind of difference that brings God's new day in our world right here, right now. And so I genuinely believe that God is calling us to prayer, because I don't know what all of these next steps are going to be for Horizon Church as we combat the institutional racism that we face in our country right now for such a time as this. But I know that we have to go to God in prayer, because if we lean into God right now, God's going to show us those details as we go. And we don't have to have it all figured out right now. The continued reassurance this week, to have that kind of faith, is what God has been calling me to. And I wanted to share that with you this morning. Again, this has been something that I've been nervous to say, and it's been unscripted. But these three things, that you have to be a learner, that you've got to also be doing something right now, and a person that's committed to prayer as we move forward. If we can do those three things as a church, I believe that God's going to create that new day as we shine light and ignite change together. Please tomorrow join us as we continue our series, part 3 of For Such a Time as This, about how we find God's purpose in the world. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and at 8 p.m. if you want to sleep in a little bit tomorrow. So hope you have a great Saturday here, and join us again on Sunday.